I'm only saying 4 people.
There are actually 5. There's one who is
Okay.
Are you
saying somebody on the other side?
I was saying the arm. Great. Okay.
How are you guys?
Good.
How are you feeling?
We are good.
We are almost picking up. Where is Patrick? Or
we expect
John and Patrick.
Patrick to join us shortly in the other room, finalizing some clients.
Okay, and where is John?
John and Patrick.
John and Patrick,
They are coming.
in the office.
Okay. And Oscar is not available?
He will join remotely, like yesterday.
Oh, awesome. I think that is okay. So today's topic are very, very engaging, very enticing. And then being the last one, we should give it our best, just give it our everything. Then we are able to finalize on it successfully. Then just see how it goes. At least good thing about Nancy, she has given us a topic, she has trained us before. So I think it's an easy landing. So Nancy, over to you. Remember to enjoy yourself.
Yes. Sourcing Rwanda, how are you this year?
We are very good.
I hear you've been very trained, you're overtrained, and I'm the last one to train you. So please, I hope you're not very tired.
No. We are
okay. Great, yeah. So I was given 3 topics to teach in 2 hours, and I was wondering how will we congest all those very, very key topics that you chose, but we'll see what we can do.
Yes.
I hope something can be taken out as we leave on your last training,
Yes.
Okay, so we'll just start off, and I'll just be pausing in between to see how we're getting on for questions. But please enjoy, interact. I think you get the data from Purity, so don't worry about writing too much. Just pay attention. There'll be some questions and answers. There'll be some group work towards the end. Before you go home, we'll have done a good deal of work, I hope. Okay, so you choose a topic called TQM. That's right there. And I was wondering why, because it's one of those things that we taught a long time ago. It's a very, very, it's not something very, very new, but I'm happy because there's some new things you can learn as TQM from TQM as QC sourcing, being a service provider. So I'll try and focus on the service industry as I go along because it's a very wide topic. So in a few minutes, I'll just begin by saying that the best thing to start off is by trying to identify and define what quality means. I know you know what quality is, but let's just try and start from there and see how we can demystify TQM. So quality in general is how a product or a service can meet a customer's need. We are all here to do business with customers because that's why we are here. Unless you have a customer, you have no business. So what you want to do is to have your service or your product to meet exactly what the customer's needs. And you see, they're always changing customer requirements, isn't it?
Yes.
What they required last year is not what they require this year. And for next year, there'll be different needs. So you're always trying to chase after the customer with what they need. So actually, by saying quality, it's a way of adding value to your service or your product. If you can be the most value-adding provider of service, then you have won. You're the cutting edge of the industry. And that's what you want to do as Q sourcing, I'm hoping, isn't it? Yes, you want to be the standing out against competitors. So having said that, what is TQM? It's a comprehensive approach that is first of all led by the top management. It must start at the top to support the entire organization in terms of quality, improvement, training, and customer satisfaction. Those are the three elements you want to focus on, because it's not just about one function, it's about the total of the whole organization that you want to do. If you're in marketing or sales or HR, whatever you're doing, you're all focusing on those three things to continuously improve your quality. As you said earlier here, it's about adding value. You're trying to train or develop people to learn more things, to how you can adapt and how you can add value. And also satisfying your customers because they're always requiring new needs. So it's a wholesome approach. Therefore, that word there, total quality management. Okay. Let me just pause for a while. I have some ball here. Let me just. Sorry, there's some boys who come to play football behind my wall, so they have to go away now, sorry. Okay, so TQM, it's a full approach of the entire organization. All the arms of the organization are supposed to be working towards delivering quality products continuously at all times. Now, look at Q sourcing, for example. How many functions do you have or departments do you have there? Briefly, anybody? How many departments do you have in Q sourcing, Rwanda, or functions? Name them.
Four. There are four.
There are four.
Yes.
Okay. And how many services do you provide in Q sourcing?
There are four.
4 services.
There are four as well.
Okay. Is everyone involved in all those 4, or you have your own separate products? You all match together and give them together, or you have your own separate services? How do you do it? Let's start from there. They support each other.
Complement each other.
Great. That is a good approach, because you see TQM, the idea is to bring them together, to consolidate everything together towards that delivery of that one service or 5 services, because eventually Q sourcing will grow. Because today you have 4 services, you want to provide more, isn't it, as you grow? So you want to integrate what you have with each other and always continuously provide the best quality, all right? So this is a culture. It's a culture you must ingrain at all levels. From the top, the CEO, the heads of functions, and unless it's supported by the top level of the management, it will not succeed. It's a commitment you're making for life, okay? It's about attaining leadership in your industry and being cutting edge or the leader in the market, because you provide the best service and you're continuously giving the best quality in the industry. And don't forget, Q sourcing is just one of them. You don't know who else will come tomorrow and begin a new business called something else, and they have been watching you, and then bam, once they come in, they take over. And again here, it's not a one-time program, it's a continuous journey. It's a step-by-step. But the first step is committed towards having total quality delivery of service. Okay, let's continue. My screen is frozen.
It's not moving.
It's not moving. Let me just try and exit.
Okay.
There you have, yeah, good.
Yes.
So now in TQM, we have some 4 pillars or some 4 conceptual areas you want to focus on. As we said, it's a journey, but it needs 4 things to happen for you to achieve total quality management. The first one is you must make it a continuous improvement. That is what the first thing is. You aim at improving every little function, every little step you do. It's incremental improvement, no matter how big or small. You make every day, every month, towards providing the better quality, improving your service. From the beginning, the one who picks the phone calls, who transfers the calls, the one who prepares an invoice for a client, the person who prepares a contract, all communication, all those things you must improve and say, today I'll make it at least faster, I'll reply the email faster, I will do the invoice, better. So all small improvements are required. It's the first thing you must do, and continuously. Why? Because the more you all say in your functions, in your areas, we're going to have improvement in our small areas, you'll have a total bigger impact on the quality of your end product or your service. Secondly, you must commit that every employee must be involved. It's not just a few of you. It's an entire team spirit. You could be having 100 people, you could be having 5 people, but every level is important because it's people who make improvements, who provide the service, or who make a product, and who know, understand what the customers want. So this must be done with a team spirit, it must be based on trust and mutual respect and a commitment. And because it's people, you must also commit to training or empowering them. Again here, people are everything. You can have the best machinery, the best ICT system, but without people, of course, you know what happens, they won't be able to train themselves, those machines. So training here is about learning, adapting, appreciating the new and better ways of improving yourselves, and providing customer solutions. So that's the first two. Continuously improving a priority and also involving everybody. Thirdly, even as you're learning and growing and developing yourselves, you must also listen to each other. The first thing is to listen to your customers. They're the ones who have the needs. You must understand what they need and what is of value to them, because value here is not the same across the board. Customer A values one thing as important, maybe the value or communication. Somebody else values the way you appreciate them. So understand what is value to all the customers and provide value to them. Unless you hear what they're telling you, what they know, what they want you to provide for them, how will you know how to help them? Secondly, listen to the employees. So you have two people here to listen to, customers and employees. Employees provide insight, ideas, creativity, and because they're the ones who are doing these roles, playing these roles, they understand how they can better improve them and get to improve and add value for the customer. So listening is very, very key because not everybody knows everything. The CEO does not know everything. They depend on you to give ideas, give your input, and be free to also listen to them as well. Get criticized, and customers always come first. Listen to what they are saying. The last pillar, the fourth pillar here, is use accurate standards to identify and eliminate problems. Now here, as continuously move and to grow towards quality, you make some errors. Things will go wrong, okay? But you must have a benchmark, what you call benchmark, a level of what you want to, and say for these particular areas you want to benchmark as this far. So depending on how far you have come on them to achieve the benchmark, whatever errors have occurred, please quickly resolve them. They should blow up timely and continuously approve and get to that standard you want to achieve. So apply whatever you must apply, statistically measures, analysis, methods, whatever you need to apply, but always benchmark and think higher. So we're not accepting anything lower than what we have put here. For example, if you have said you're responding to customers' complaints within 24 hours, that is your benchmark. If you say that we are receiving, we're drawing contracts for clients at a meeting in 48 hours, it must be achieved. If things have gone wrong, they must be resolved quickly because errors are what is going to pull you down in trying to achieve your quality management. Any query so far on the 4 pillars of TQM? Do they make sense?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Okay, they do. All right. So now these 4 pillars can be summarized into 2 elements. They're called the core principles. Yeah. There is people and there is improvement. So we'll say here that based on what we have discussed, the 4 pillars, the first principle is about people. It's people-oriented. You're focusing on the value of the customer. All the employees are rallying together, all the departments, all the functions to add value for the customer. And this is not just a service. It could be a tangible product, like maybe you're selling water, whatever it is that you're doing. That is what the value is. They're finding value in that. And people here go beyond employees. They go to as far as suppliers of your raw materials. Those you need to bring in something to create that end product. Now, sometimes we say suppliers of our raw material or suppliers of what we require, but now, in terms of Tqm, you want to make them understand that you have a standard you want to achieve for the end product. So you make them come on board as business partners. So you're training your employees on things to do with quality, time management, all those elements. You may want to also bring them on board on the same things, because what they supply you is according to what you want to provide at the end of it all. So we always say, if you're training employees on things to do with Tqm, who are your suppliers? Who are your business partners? Who are the ones who provide for you the raw materials? You know, who do you outsource your work to? Make them part of you, because it is a total approach. Everybody who has an input to you and what you deliver as value must be involved. Okay. Now, in terms of people here, employees, again, here, they must be always very, very well equipped and given a time to create themselves, to innovate. And because they understand what they are making, they understand the product and the customer, they should be allowed space to be creative, innovative, and to take ownership of what they're doing. And this is what sometimes fails companies that are going for Tqm. They don't want to involve their employees fully. They want to apply their own leadership styles and forget that the people who are the ones who are making this product are the ones who are important. There's a company in Kentucky, it's called Toyota in Kentucky, USA. They make the Lexus SUV. They have been trained so well to understand how a customer should feel as they drive the Lexus. You know, the way it sounds, the sound of the engine, the way it moves. So as they make that product, they're thinking, it must sound like this. It must feel like this. Anything lower is out. So they have been trained to have the skill to listen, to appreciate, you know, as they do a test drive, something is not sounding and feeling right about this vehicle. Let's check and see. So that is how you involve your employees to feel and own the product or the service. So people here are the first thing entirely, the first orientation. So training will do, teamwork is always there, you know, supply them what they require, the right supplies, the right vision. And because teamwork is what is linking all the departments and all the divisions, it must always be together. You must have meetings together, agree together with them. And nobody, as again I said, nobody has all the knowledge. No one knows everything. Listen to each other and empower each other. And secondly, we'll say the second core principle is about improvement orientation, okay? Everyone should work to continuously improve their work process, no matter how small it is. Small incremental ones are important. This is where you look at what you're doing, what must be done by everyone, okay? What is important, what creates value? You're always adding value. Somebody once said in a Korean, the Hyundai KIA plant, that in that company, all people that he meets in Hyundai are hell-bent on making sure quality is getting better all the time. So it's about improving on quality every time, okay? And they will do the best with what they do, with what they have, whatever it takes. So whatever you have as a resource, depending on how many you are and what you have, make it the best you can. Yeah, start with what you have, what you know, and who you are, and whatever happens, make it the best. If you can all have that mindset, then you can say, as Q sourcing, this is what we are, this is who our customers are, what they require, let's make it the best we can. That becomes a culture, okay? Now, this has different assumptions. And the first one, this whole mindset of continuous improving has a few assumptions. It says, it's less expensive to do right the first time. It's called doing things right the first time. It's very, very common in Japanese companies. They don't want to say, let's try and error. Let's do a trial and error and wait and see. So you put the best you can, the best tools, the best equipment, the best people's minds, the first time, and do it well. Because if you focus on doing it first, right time, no matter what happens, the errors are reduced. It's not like very, very open to whatever can happen. You're saying, let's try and make it the best shot ever. Whatever goes wrong, we shall correct, make it better, and that's the mindset you want to have. It costs less to rectify a problem when you've done it well. It also says it's better to make small improvements all the time than making one big one and trying to make one big improvement. Step by step, step by step, no matter how big, how small. And looking back after 6 months, 1 year, you say we have done small steps here and there to make it better. There's a company called Daimler in the US. Normally when they have done, they have put cars together to be finished. They pack them in small space in between. So you can't have anybody going around to read the tags to take stock of them. So what they have done, they have put drones to read the tags for inventory control. So they began by having people going around, picking, counting, this is what we have. Then they said, to make it better, let's have a drone going around to pick up the stock tags. And the next thing for them now is having smaller drones that are more than just the one they have. So small by small improvements, that's what you want to do. It also says here that accurate standards must always be followed to eliminate small variations. As you make smaller improvements and add value, whatever errors have occurred must be cleared quickly as you benchmark continuously. So do not allow them to go beyond that time. Rectify them correctly, quickly, at every stage by stage, and move on. Do not leave something behind for another time. Improve, correct, benchmark, improve, correct, benchmark, step by step. And you must all agree together at the same time. And then very, very key is about top management commitment, not just lip service saying, yes, we must do it. They must also be role models and be able to provide and show the way that you should be going. Provide you the resources, with the motivation, with the role modeling, if you're required to be trained, like how you're coming here now, whatever is required to improve and make a difference and add value must be done by the top management. Now, if you look at the chart I'm just showing here, it's a cycle of continuous improvement. It begins with a, can you see, is it clear? Can you read it? It's a bit blurred for me here. You can see the diagram I'm showing here?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing, identifying what needs to be improved. What can we improve? It's a process, an operation, a system. Identify that one first and say, the next thing is to plan and see where we are and what can we do to improve it to become better. So you first identify, then you plan for it, and then you implement the change or the improvement. Small steps. And then you can review every now and then and see, has a change happened? Is it working for us? Is it adding value to our customer? Is it, what are the errors, the learnings we have done so far? What can we do to correct the whole error? And then again, start again. Identify others, plan, execute. So it's a round circle. It continues like that. Make it a habit, a culture to always identify, to plan, to execute, and review the small improvements that you have made. And you're surprised by what you have done at the end of one period, all of you, all the 5 departments or the 5 sections. And you will realize once you start doing it, it becomes a habit. Anything you start doing for at least 14, 30 days becomes a habit for everybody, not just for a few, for all of you. I'll show you some photos here of some improvements that have been done before. You can see my photographs here.
Yes.
This is a photograph of a simple thing called road marking. I'm sure you have seen that in your streets, road marking, eh? Mm-hmm. The very first top left there, you can see before, a long time ago, there'd be some guys coming with paint and brush, and all day in the sun, they're just painting, the paintbrush. Somebody has marked lines and they are painting, trying to be accurate, to stay within the line. That was what was known before as road marking. And then the third photo on the top there, they developed something called a road marking machine or trailer. So in this case here, they had one machine, a contraption where somebody would pour liquid paint it will go through a system and somebody would roll off the paint as they move along, as they push the machine along. There's somebody behind him who's trying to roll over the paint on the line. So you have about 3 or 4 guys here, but it's much faster and maybe a bit more accurate because they're doing it along a machine that has been aligned, the correct width, the correct level of volume of paint. That was level 2. Again, they improved. Then now, the 4th photo on the bottom here, you see a bigger machine. You can't see the paint. The paint is in a small boiler. So the paint now is not liquid anymore. It's like a powder that you melt with a heater or a boiler. And you only have one guy who is applying along the lines that have been marked. So it pours enough as you move along, and the roller is now automatically plugged there. It just rolls the paint along. So there is not much of manpower. You can see that? It's just one man. And the paint is now in a boiler. It's called thermoplastic. I know about this because I've been in the industry for a long time, the paint industry for a long time. And then the last improvement you can see is just one man. Now you can sit down. Yeah. The thing is moving much faster. And the paint has a bigger boiler. So it does more volume of paint. You can do more than just one line. You can do 2 lines if you want to by applying 2 rollers. And the guy just drives on the straight line. Can you see how they have come from the beginning, from the days of painting on the floor with a brush? You can see that.
Yeah.
That is now what you call quality, because the end result here with the new machine is more accurate, it's faster, it's longer lasting because the paint you're using now is not the paint you used before. It's not liquid, it's modified into a boiler, it dries faster. So all those are small steps that they took in this sector to improve the road marking. Yeah, it came a long way. Look at that photograph there. What are you seeing? What do you see? Somebody? Anybody? What do you think is going on there? Yeah?
They're putting pavement, I don't know. They're putting or they're removing, I don't know.
Okay. Okay, this is somewhere in Europe. I don't know, maybe in our country here we have the same kind of thing. Normally when you're doing a new estate, you have a road, you want to put some cabro blocks together. You know how you lay the concrete and you put some sand on top and you interlock some blocks, concrete blocks. Here they're called cabro works in Kenya, in Nairobi. It's a very, very manual job because you have to first prepare the flat surface, you bring a roller machine, then you sand it and level it again. Engineers come in and show it's nice and flat, and then they bring a whole truck of blocks, and some guys who are trained to lock them. So they start locking them one by one, from one end to one end. It can take a long, long, long time, okay? So now this company in Europe, they have developed another way of doing it. So once you have your road done, they have a it's called a what? It's like a concrete film. And then they use gravity and a machine to compress the blocks in a pattern. And then they roll them on the road straight away. Can you see? It just drives through. It's laying the entire structure with the blocks. Yes, there's some that are coming off, but you see what they'll do now. Once they have laid them out, they'll have just one person to go and lock them in, and the road is done in just one drive-through. Isn't that improvement?
A lot of improvement, actually.
Yeah. And that's where you want to go. So think about what is costing you manpower, long hours, a lot of expenditure. Yeah. What can we do to make it easier? It needs a lot of involvement and using the people who understand this job. What can we do? What can be done? So allow people to start creating. So these are small increments you can do to improve processes. So think like that. Okay, so for any questions on the structures, on the principles, questions or concerns? Okay. I hope you're following me. It's making sense, huh? All right. Now, Tqm in services. Q sourcing is a service industry. I know you don't make products, but Tqm can be applied across in a product that's tangible or a service. The difference here being, in products here you can see, you can measure, you can store the product, you can test it. But in the service industry, you provide whatever you provide is dispensed very, very fast. It's like somebody calls you, you reply, you sort out the customer. It's what you do at that moment. So the difference here between the product that you touch or tangible and the service is because you dispense a product immediately and requires people effort. It requires a person to do something. There's no machine sometimes, but you require to do something because you're the one who's attending that customer who comes in to ask for a service. Now, because of the people element here, it requires, again here, commitment and practice, continuous learning, and getting engaged with your customer continuously and designing products or services that fit the ever-changing client needs. The same way as a product, yeah? Let's say you're selling like maybe margarine or butter. There are different things that go in there. There are those who want unsalted butter, some want with salt, some want low fat, all those things. So there are different values required. Some require a big tab, a small tab, but for you, it's just that one service, okay? If it's like HR placement service, it's just that one thing. But adapting to understand what every customer requires, what do they value? Is it speed? Do they want to just have one client, one staff filled up in a very short time? So what do they require and what can you effectively commit yourself to practicing to do continuously and improving on that particular element? So for service is a bit more different. It can be quite challenging because it's a different whole thing altogether. It's nothing, you can't even touch or feel it. It's what you do at that time. For example, like me and Pretty here, we are trainers. Yeah, we train throughout. So we have training programs we have designed, maybe in HR, management, customer service. They are like structured. But now we have different clients. We have Q sourcing, we have Simba, we have all those. They are at different levels in their operations. So you must actually find the content that applies to them, the requirement they require for the training. So aligning the course training program to what they need is something we must continuously learn to do and engage with them. And also us, we must learn what's going on in that industry, in that sector. Unless we are learning, we cannot bring you to part to what you require. So a service here may be a bit more challenging, but I'm sure you understand that for yourself, but think in terms of what is important for the customers you're focusing on in manufacturing, in what sector, what do they value, and continuously listen to their heartbeats. Now, to do so, there are some tools we can actually advise and recommend for you, the tools or techniques that you can use to be able to understand and adapt your services and your quality to the customers. And the first one we recommend is called outsourcing, or let outsiders handle it. Because you are, for example, you're Q sourcing, you focus on HR services, that is your core business. You want to focus your energies and your time and resource on doing that. There's some things you can subcontract, yeah? So understand and say, what's our core business? What are we valuing on? What are we spending our money mostly on? We want to focus on our customers in HR. So what is it that's not core to us? Is it tea services? Is it cleaning? So you want to adapt that and just focus everything in one area and say, for this thing, we'll outsource, so you can focus our energy, our time, and our synergy towards providing a quality service. This helps you to lift off some small things that you don't need to do. It's even for you, for a long time for you, it's cheaper to have somebody doing the other work for you. Security services, cleaning, ICT services. Companies even hire a HR consultant to come and do all the HR work from the beginning. Medical services, employing, placement, training. So for you, you're just doing your own work. I know a company here called BAT. BAT does makes cigarettes. Now, BAT have outsourced almost every service apart from making cigarettes. They outsource their sales department, they outsource their branding department, their HR department, and for them, they say, what's our business? To make cigarettes. Yeah, so why care about HR? Who are the experts? Give them. Accounting and finance, that's our core value, our core product. Give somebody else. And because of that, we are the leading cigarette tobacco manufacturer in the whole of East Africa, in the region. So, USQ sourcing, think in terms of what is not core to you. What is your core business? HR services, okay? So what can you leave out for others to handle? Do you do anything like this at Q sourcing? Do you outsource anything at all? Or you do everything is up to you? You do your HR, you do your accounting. Do you outsource? It's a question I'm asking. What do you outsource at Q sourcing?
We do everything, right?
You do everything, yeah? Okay. Is everything, okay, are you able to focus on everything you're doing and at the same time provide total quality management services to customers? Do you feel like you're being pulled, you know, in the efforts to give services to customers? Eventually, as you grow, you realize that some things are not your core business. So it's good to think and understand and say, what are we made? What is our core value? What are we doing here? What is our main business here? And then slowly you start giving off, you know, the small things that you don't really require. And you can have all the minds totally committed towards providing quality service to your customers. That's one tool you can use. Second tool here is reducing the cycle time to increase the speed of the work output, what you're giving out. Most customers will value speed. They don't want to wait for too long to be helped, yeah? So you're trying to do the most you can in a short period of time by thinking of what efficient ways can we use? What can we use? What can we do or adapt to make our services faster in provision? Is it a form that normally it takes a long time to fill? Is it a process? Is it our step-by-step authorization, the bureaucracy we have here, approval, signing here and there? For example, think about 10 years back or 5 years back, opening a bank account, how it was. You go to a bank and say, I want an account here. They give you this long form to fill with so many small blanks that must be filled. Then you attach something else. It must be sent by somebody else, look for a referee, and look at how easy it is now to open an account in a bank. It's very easy, isn't it? Online. You just tap, and you're on, because you don't want to wait for too long for an account to be open because you have money here to keep somewhere. So find what are those things that take a long time that are wasteful. There could be things to do with motions, yeah? Movement of things here and there. This document goes there for signing, somebody else is here. Procedures, you know, between departments, yeah, delays in between there. Those delays are causing you time and customer satisfaction as well. So different things have occurred. People have applied this for a long time, and they have seen how, for example, in the shipping industry, the barcoding system was released for that reason, because barcoding scanners, they just scan, they can count the number of stocks you have, the date of manufacture, expiry date, the pack size, and then you just key it in the system and say, we have these items to transport, please go and pick them there in warehouse number 4, as opposed to going one by one with a forklift. So find out what it is that is causing you time, slow in motion, movement of things, procedures, you know, barriers, red tape. Because those things are going to cause you quality management, quality for your services, for your customers. Thirdly, this is not mainly for a service, it's mainly for manufacturing, because they have a way they take periodic random samples. It's how you take a sample of a production batch, for example, and sample for quality. Every now and then, you can say for every 2 runs, we'll pick 2 random samples and see, is the quality maintained in the entire batching? And then you stop and say, yes, it's correct, it's acceptable. If not, stop it and correct, do it again. It's mainly done in production lines where they have a lot of big, large samples of production to use. Like fast food McDonald's, they don't use it for testing and see, let's see how the burgers are being made. So every now and then they take a whole batch of burgers and say, pick one sample, is the oil okay? Is it crispy enough? The salt, fine, it can go. So those are ways that we normally do in production, manufacturing. It's a bit hard for you in servicing to do this kind of thing, but there are other things you can do. Another technique I can apply here is called a Six Sigma, okay? It defines the quality or the effect of something, a product or a service, in terms of standard deviation. How far has it deviated from the required quality? And they take an entire process. Maybe you start from the purchasing, the weighing of the item, the storing, the manufacturing, the billing, and it's an entire circle. So where are the defects found? So you can say out of all these 18 processes, we have found a defect in one area. Let us rectify that area and bring it back. So it's about it's basically in production and manufacturing. Now, what we can apply here for you in service is something called the ISO standards. Have you done anything like this at Q sourcing, the ISO series of standards? ISO series, do you have anything like this? Have you adopted the kind of series before?
What are you asking again?
ISO, is that clear to you? ISO standards.
Yes.
Have you signed up for any of them?
No. ISO is under certified.
Okay, I think I didn't hear very, very well. So
We
this is
cannot
very
hear you
good.
clearly.
Yeah, we can't hear you. I think it's echoing. Say it again.
Okay, let me get close to the speaker.
Yes.
I said international standardization organizations is not new to us because we are under implementation process and we are yet to be certified in the near future. Yes.
Very good. This is very appropriate for you in service because it can work across the industry, service or manufacturing products, because it's about procedures. You can put and say, I want the first 9,000 series, that's the first that was initiated. It gives you a guideline of how you can prepare a standard to meet for your entire process, for the entire system, the entire structure, for the entire system, for the first function all the way down. You're able to give yourself a standard where somebody can come and audit you and see, based on what you have put in place here as a standard, you have gone below. This can be corrected. It's a high-end error, but it can be corrected within a short time. So it's a flaw that you can actually correct. And this standard, the first one was 9,000 series. It was begun by, it was launched in 1987 in Geneva. And for this particular one, the first standard has 8 elements. It's about customer focusing, leadership. It's to do with the process and approach of management. So you can actually apply these principles in every area of your work and then document and put them in place and evaluate yourselves based on an auditor who comes from a different company to come and see how far you have gone, how far you performed in the series. So once you document them, you train your staff on what's required to maintain that standard and always continuously review, get audited, improve. And if you have a new system that has come in or a new function, you always have to improve it and document that particular function and say, this is what is required in this function. The second series is called the 14,000 series. It's an extension. It's basically based on quality management systems to do with environment, yeah? If you're in production, for example, how do you dispense or how do you dispose of your waste? How do you take care of pollution, yeah? It's to do with the environment because this, the last few years have been very, very critical environment. You're trying to be a green company to show care for the environment. So this is now like the next series from 9,000, and it's mostly done by companies who manufacture goods. Now, lastly, for you, what you can apply is something else called benchmarking, yeah? This can be applied easily because it can apply in manufacturing or servicing. You're trying to measure your performance based on another company that is best known to do the best practice in the same industry. For example, if you're doing HR services, you find who is a leading HR service consultant in your country or in the region and benchmark from them, because you want to learn what are they doing better than you to remain as a leader and get a bigger, get more customer approval. So this is a way of learning from others. There's nothing wrong with that. It's very advised to do that. And as you're doing benchmarking, you're trying to find what element is it that you can pick from them, or what elements can you learn from them to improve on your quality, on your service, and come closer to what they are. Like, for example, here in Kenya, we have, if you're trying to benchmark on things to do with telecommunications, we look at Safaricom. Yeah, they're the #1 in the industry here. In terms of the services they provide, innovation, delivery of services, they have maintained a consistent high level of quality in what they do. Logistics management, we look at DHL. They have been known worldwide for that. So for you as Q sourcing, who is your #1 market leader, the best practice you can go to? Do you have somebody in Rwanda you can go to for benchmarking that you think what one day can do benchmarking? Is there a HR consultant you can go and benchmark with in Rwanda? The question.
No, not really. Not really.
Are you the leading best practice? Maybe you're the leading practice in Rwanda. Are you #1 market leader? Maybe you are.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I think, and Nancy, it's. I think the market is wide.
Yes.
I mean, dividing the market among the competitors. So we wouldn't say that this HR consulting company is the one leading.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. There are no.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hi, Nancy.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Oscar. I'm part of the team, just joining on a different line.
Oh, okay. Yes. Welcome, Oscar.
Thanks. I think in line with benchmarking,
Yes.
my understanding is that it doesn't necessarily have to be that the person you're benchmarking with has to be the best in everything. If you're competing, let's say we are an HR consulting firm and we are among the leading, let's say we are among the top 5.
Yes.
I think learning from, definitely we are always looking at who has the competitive edge in this sector. We might be doing well in recruitment, but they are doing well in manpower management. We might be using this system and they are using an advanced one. So I think in one way or another, we have room for benchmarking with our competitors, but also I don't think it only applies on our local competitors. Queen, you've been trying to get some certifications or some HR bodies that are international, that would rank us among what. So those are I believe those are some of the examples on some of the institutions in the human resource practitioners, either in Africa or in the world, that would rank us. So we can always learn from those and pick out a few things. So it doesn't have to be necessarily that there's someone who is leading in the country, so he's the one that we all look up to. I think you can even benchmark on a certain criteria, on a certain element that they are doing well at. So I still think as key sourcing, we have quite a number of firms, not only our competitors, but even others who have set some good standards that we can learn from.
Exactly, the best practice, isn't it? Yes. It's about the best practice. You're right. It's not about the entire company scope. It's about one element or one function or one thing that they excel in that they call a best practice. You want to adapt and see how can we benchmark with them. So sometimes it could be the number one leading company in the industry, or somebody else, as you said rightly, but there's one or two things you want to find. How can we improve by benchmarking with company X or industry X? This has very, very good benefits. It's a very, very good way of doing it, and it's been used very, very widely in TQM for particular functions. The first one being, it's a very, very efficient way of improving, yeah? You have identified somebody or something that has been happening in somebody's organization, and you want to benchmark with them and see how you can try and improve based on that. Is it maybe time management, innovation, creativity? You can pick out that. Secondly, you can eliminate the issue of trial and error that wastes a lot of time and effort, yeah? You just pick on that thing and say, how do these guys do it so well? Why are they succeeding and not doing very well? Instead of trying on your own and wasting so much time to do it. Thirdly, you can focus on tailoring an existing process to fit into your own. There is nothing wrong with that, you know? Can this apply? That system, maybe the accounting system, maybe the software they're using can also apply to us. Those are things you can just pick and avoid reinventing the entire wheel. It can help you save time also. Also, it will challenge your practices, you know, and your processes. You always think about, we are doing well here, but somebody else is doing well in that thing. How are they doing it? It will challenge your mind to think beyond who you are and what you are. That there's so much you can do beyond what you're doing and improve it as fast as you can. It also challenges you as an executive or the managers to think of the next thing. What else would the company, what else would the customers expect us to do for them? So you're always trying to improve and get better in the way you're coordinating your functions, the way you're creating value for the customer beyond what you know. Those are a few of the benefits of benchmarking that you can get out there. Now, how would you do this? How would you apply this if you have to apply this technique? The first thing, of course, you have to plan and see what are the areas we are trying to succeed in. Identify what are the leadership styles, productivity, is it about the innovation? So document and say these are the areas where we are seeing ourselves not doing very, very well. How can we benchmark? Who can we benchmark with? And then you search for the partners or the people in the industry that have that extra advantage above you to benchmark with. And then you can observe. I know for sure if you're benchmarking and you tell them you want to come and just see how you do maybe your planning or your financial analysis, they will not say no. Most will not accept. They will feel very happy for you to come and see what they're doing. Yeah. Observe, understand, learn, and then find the gaps of your performance level and try and see how you can, what are the causes of these issues? How can we now adapt the best practice into our company with our conditions, with what we have? Not 100% maybe, but what can you learn? Even just 2 things to help you improve and get better and continuously improve, as I said earlier. This is it's a very, very big tool in TQM. People have got very, very many ways ahead of it. So I even advise you to think of this as one of the tools among the others that can help you here in service industry. Okay, so as we come to close this topic, it's 5 o'clock now. There's some barriers that have been identified as TQM barriers. You know, there are 4 main things that we can say that TQM has failed in some companies, or there are 4 inhibitors. The first one is fail to provide evidence of supporting previous improvement. Again, I was saying here earlier, it's about continuously improving. If you cannot keep a record of the previous improvements or steps to improve or focus on improving, it's very hard to understand where you are as you continue TQM. You have to have a record, a track record, a trajectory of where we have been. Then you can say from here on, you want to go this way. This is our trend, you want to go up in this form of steps. Number 2 is lack of champions or champions who are responsible for leading the implementation of TQM. This is a team effort. It requires people to lead and others to follow. Somebody who can be a role model, somebody who can inspire and teach others, because it is not something you do, it's not a one-time project, it's continuous. So it's good to identify and say we have a few champions here we can train and make them lead in this section, in these departments and functions. So let us have a team of champions to continuously lead the information process. Thirdly, you are able to measure or track the results of the program. You cannot manage something you cannot measure. If you cannot measure, you cannot manage at all. So you have to measure a track record, some standards, yeah? The deviations. How far, what are we putting in place in the first 3 months as a standard? Moving forward, what percentage of deviance do you want to achieve? And then fourthly, is a failure to develop a culture of quality and continuous learning. Again, this becomes a culture. Learning, continuously learning, developing people, okay? Listening to customers, to employees, learning and adapting, improving, benchmarking, improving your standards, measuring. It becomes something, it's part of your culture, is you do it without being told, and everybody is at the same level. And that brings us to the end of our first topic on TQM. I hope you have got something out of it, and I welcome for any questions or remarks, any inputs for the next few minutes before we continue. Hello.
Any questions from the team?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. All right.
Okay, so we can proceed on Purity?
Yes.
Everybody? Okay. Let me get some water, please, for drinking. Please allow me to get some water. Just 3 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe they can stretch.
Let's take a 3-minute break, then we can get back.
Thank you very much. I drink a lot of water all day, so I think I drank a bit too much before we continued. Okay, so the next topic you chose was operational excellence, which follows very well with TQM. It's an overlap in some areas that you'll find. And my screen is frozen again. Okay. Let me try and. It has refused. Oh, there we go. Yes. So this topic here that you chose goes very well with TQM, as you'll find in some areas.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Would you please hold on a moment, because people are out. There's nobody here.
Okay.
Okay. We are just 3. The rest are out. They're still stretching.
Okay. Stretching is good for you. It's good for your health and concentration.
Nancy, let's just give them a few more minutes.
Yes.
Maybe 2 more minutes, then they get back.
Okay.
We are back. A big number.
We are muted.
No? We are muted. Oh, yeah. Yes, okay.
We are all back now.
A big number is back.
Okay, the big number
Alex
is back.
and Patrick are not yet.
Patrick and Axel are not yet back.
Okay. John was not able to join us.
Oh, he's been here. He's even, see, he's the one passing. Oh, you don't remember John?
Where was he seated? Was he seated there?
Yeah.
Right there.
Hi, John.
Hi,
Nice to see you.
Okay, so let's continue with our next topic that actually follows very well with TQM, and I'm glad you chose it. It's to do with excellence. I can see where Q sourcing is trying to get, and that's a good thing. Moving forward, you want excellence in your operations. That's simply what it is. Now, it has been defined in many different ways, but it means the same thing, but it's more portions. I'll just go through a few of the defined definitions of operational excellence. Somebody said it's a framework for business to focus on growth and execute their strategy better than other competitors. So you're trying to get cutting edge, you want to be the leading in your industry. Somebody else also said that it is excellent. It's a mindset that embraces certain principles and tools to create sustainable improvement. Again, here to sustain, that's a word you want to find. It's not a one-time project, it's continuous. Again, it's a culture of improvement that follows very well TQM in your operations. Thirdly, it enables a company to do more with the same staff through better employee engagement and streamlined processes. It's about the resources you have. Human resources, the staff, engaging and streamlining within their processes because there are many. So you want to have a nice flow of operations seamlessly. And then lastly, it's about how we can better apply our resources. When it comes to operations, it's all about what you have as a resource and how you can manage it well, cost effectively, and provide efficiency. Because you have many operations, I know you have in Q, so you have many operations that you have different areas, but you're trying to get the best out of what you have, the people, the procedures you have in operations, and also to try and excel in how you utilize the resources, people, cost, it could be capital resources, the equipment, all that you have to excel to give a good product to your customer. So it goes beyond just operations management. It's about excellence, okay? So here, this complements the continuous improvement element of TQM in terms of adding value to the operations. And the value here is in terms of excellence in every way. The way you spend your time, the way you manage your time, the way you manage your resources, you know, physical resources, people resources, whatever they are, to excel. It also is to make everybody in the company to see the flow and the value in operations to the end customer. If you can engage all the minds, all the operations towards the end result. Again, it's about collaboration. It's about finding value, yeah? What are we doing better to provide that value as a process in our operations? All right. So if it's done well, you'll find that this entire program will reduce your costs of operations and as well as give you high productivity from every area. Reducing costs here means whatever cost you have, time, physical cost, you know, effectively. So what you're saving now goes towards adding value towards your customer because you're not wasting as much in terms of money, time, there's not much waste to manage, and that goes towards the value of the customer in the processes. Now, again here, people, they must be actively involved in the operation of adding in the entire excellence program. It's about adding up and finding long-term sustainable growth. Yeah, you sustain this excellence to enable you to find growth, is to find new leadership in the industry, and to keep your customers happy every time. And you must also engage them as you realign your procedures and your processes and operations to their ever-growing needs. We said earlier in Tqm that customers' needs for last year, value for that customer. So here, it's a different culture again here to enable employees to be empowered and motivated, because everything you do is about people. People are the ones who apply their minds, are the ones who provide ideas, are the ones who put their commitment, their heart and minds in everything. Unless you empower and motivate them, this may be able to, this will not be a culture of work. So think excelling in everything that you're doing in operations. And there are a few elements you must have in place as you're trying to apply this as a culture. The first thing you must have as prerequisite is to build efficient processes. So look at your process or your operations, yeah? How rigid are they? Are they flexible? Can they adapt quick change? Can they adapt to your excellence? And can adapt to your customer requirements? And then number two, how skilled are the people who are applying the processes you have in the company? Are they quick on the feet to solve problems? Can they adapt? Are they alert? Yeah. Can they maintain a consistent level of commitment of outputs? At the same time, here it's about teams. The entire company, all the teams must be linked because they're all operational teams in different parts of the company. In this case here, you're trying to improve performance, to be innovative, yeah, to save time, to delight, not just to make somebody happy, but delight customers continuously in every stage. The first stage can be the first one to receive the LPO, how you process, how you communicate, how you interact, how you follow up the customer complaints. So all those operations must always be aligned to be continuously and sustainably providing excellence. So the first thing is processes and then the people. And in this case here, as you look at these two prerequisites, you want to create value for the customer because you understand where their needs are and you must retain that to have loyalty and growth. Because unless you have the customer's loyalty and delight, they cannot grow with you. Number two, you want to have a common purpose. All the employees, those who provide a service to you or supply service to you, as we call them earlier business partners, because whatever they provide to you is adding value for the customer. They're part of the business partners you must have. They must see things the same way you see them. They could be giving you accounting services, security services, whatever they provide, but they're adding something to the big picture. They must all have a common purpose. You can't have one area doing one thing, another area a different thing. Thirdly, you must have an inclusive environment. Have an open, what do you call? Everybody's ideas are welcome. Think outside the box and just say what you're thinking. How can you improve your process? How can you improve that process, yeah? And don't limit them to their own operations. If we have an idea of how you can help yourself and improve your process there across in a different department, so open out, let guys think and just innovate and be creative. So listen, encourage, support, and supply all that's required to make these ideas come to a reality because they contribute towards excellence in operations, you're saving cost, and you're getting more productive. And don't forget to reward them, to reward good performance, good ideas, you know. Those who are putting their heart and soul into it, they become the role models for the others to follow as well. All right. Then fourthly, think systematically, okay? All together, interlinked, together as one unit, yeah? Where do we link up with finance? Where does marketing link with sales? So think in a systematic way, harmoniously, where you're all seeing yourself as one unit. Again here, Tqm, one unit, yeah? My process flows to IT like this. My process flows through to finance this way. My process flows through, and there is nothing that blocks it. It flows systematically and it's a simple flow. Fifthly, maintain quality, and value at every stage of the process. If you're thinking that term of waste, value, and quality, you're trying to eliminate any waste you have or disruptions, and you're correcting everything that's gone wrong. Something goes wrong, someone occurs, you correct it. And an attitude here to have is not to blame anybody, that you are the guys who delayed me, so I could not do this. Learn to just say something has gone wrong, can you correct it? Yeah. Finance delayed the money to come through for you to go and do something else there. Don't say finance did not give me the money. Just say the delay in finance, can we correct that moving forward so you can have a smooth flow of operations with no bottlenecks. Number 6, encourage innovative thinking. Open up again. Let people just explore. Let them try out new things, try new areas of trying to do new things, because you're trying to use these people in your processes to create excellence at the end of the day. So innovation is the first thing actually when it comes to people. Are they thinking innovatively? Are they being blocked from not thinking innovatively? So encourage that, because it is people who own the processes, and only they can give you ideas on how you can improve them towards excellence. Are you together? Hello?
Yes. Yes.
Together.
We are.
It's a much shorter discussion because it flows very well from TQM. It's basically like an extension of that element, so it's not very long. And for this purpose, I think that's all I can say for now. Unless you have questions. Does it make sense? Can it be applied? I want to hear from you. You know, sometimes we just talk, we don't hear back, we don't know what's going on. And that's the other side of virtual learning. Any feedback? Is it helpful?
Yes, it is helpful. We have no question. You can proceed. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all right. It's now 5:20, and we are in time for the next topic. Again, here's a crash course. We had to think about time, but I didn't want to rush you. I want to give you time to digest, you know, see how the connections are. It's all about learning. So in the next part of the time we have, we're going to look at the new topic that you have earlier asked for, strategic management. It's a more involving one. We'll have some work to do here because it's what we, you as key sourcing are always doing as leaders. And let's start by just understanding this word strategy. I know what, you know what it is, but I want to just break it down for you in simple terms. It's about as a scope and the direction of our company. It's about where we are going and how far we are going. What is the scope? Over a long term, it's something you're thinking about ahead because you have your vision here and you want to go into that direction in the long term to achieve some advantages for the company. In this way, you're trying to configure your resources in terms of people resources, capital resources, within a given environment where you're working, because nobody works in an island, you work in an environment internally and externally, and you want to meet the needs of the market. That is why we're in business. You have a market or you have a customer to meet somewhere and to fulfill stakeholder expectations. And here there are many stakeholders. You have your shareholders, you have customers, you have the government. So the entire procedure here is to meet the fulfill those stakeholder expectations. Now, what does that really involve? Let's break it down a bit more and see what it involves and what it is that it entails. It entails the first thing to satisfy the customer. That's why you're in business, yeah? The customer is who can fire you and close your shop, and if they are happy with you, you have no business being that company or having that company running. Number two, you want to grow the business. A business is not a static thing. You want to grow organically in terms of your market share, number of customers, the way a company grows organically. And also beyond that to acquisition stage. What are you acquiring? Are you breaking bigger grounds? So here you want to apply strategy to be able to break bigger grounds beyond just the organic growth. Thirdly, you want to respond to the ever-changing industry and market conditions. And they have been quite drastic. They've been quite dynamic the last few years. It never stays the same, and it's going to get more and more challenging. So for you, it's about responding. How fast and how well do you respond? Adaptability here to your industry. Number 4, to capitalize on the new opportunities you have. Yeah. As time goes by, the industry is changing, everything is going to be shifting. You must find out what opportunities are opening, the gaps opening for us to do something good for the industry. To manage your functions of the business, you have 5 functions, you have 4 functions, they must manage well and be aligned to be able to bring the end result you want for the customers. And lastly, it's about strategic and financial objectives, about what you want to achieve as leaders in financial objective terms, in figures, in revenues, in growth. You want to bring all this together in that particular level. That's what this includes in short. Now, how do you manage all this together? It's called strategic management. This is what you want to do now. So in short here, we are saying it's a set of decisions and actions that result in the first thing to formulate, number 2, to implement plans designed to achieve a company's objectives. So Q sourcing has some goals they have set for themselves to do in the long run, in the short run. So what are you going to do and how are you going to do them in terms of formulating or designing the game plan, and then how you're going to achieve or implement that entire process to the end of achieving your objectives. So it's just simply that. It's a combo of those actions and decisions that you make. Now, this is applied at different levels. Everybody has a small stake in how you apply strategic management to you, because there are 4 levels here. We have the CEO level or the C-suite level. This is the board and the CEO level, the top level. It's called the strategic level of strategic management. This is where they think beyond, they have long term. They think about the market, the industry, they think about growth, acquisition. So at that level there, it's called strategic level of strategic management. Level 2 is now the function heads, or they're called the business units. You have your head of finance, you have head of marketing, head of HR. So those who now report to the CEO level are called the tactical level of. So they are given, and then they transfer strategy to a different level to their own functions. For example, the CEO level can say you want to grow Q sourcing in market share in the region by 30%, okay? If you're in sales, for example, what does that mean to you, okay? Figure strategy. And the third level is those who report now to the functions. They're called the functional levels, operational level. They now translate to what you as a business level have said you will do into the operation. Or the key strategy of the entire organization. So the way you operate in your strategy level is different from the way the CEO operates. So you understand where you are. Where am I in the triangle? Am I in the corporate level or the system? Am I was all levels? It's very, very key. Understand them first. Seeing where you lie in the entire triangle.
Very clear. Yes, Nancy, yes, it is very clear, and I think we can relate to Q sourcing, because Q sourcing is a group. We have a CEO and the directors. So the strategic business units, we can put there the head of business of the different entities. At the beginning of the year, the CEO has like a target, and it's divided among the entities. That is given to the head of business, and from the head of business, then it's divided in our respective functional units.
Okay, so for you now, what is your level of strategic planning? What is your level? Is it the business unit or operational unit? What is your level of strategy?
No, it's functional. For us here, it's functional.
Okay.
And then Oscar is on the business unit. He's the head of business here.
Okay. That's great. I'm happy to hear you can see where you are, because unless you understand what level you are, it becomes a bit difficult to digest and formulate your own strategic plan. That's great. Good. So now, for every level, they have to ask themselves some questions. Like the CEO level, top level there, they ask themselves these questions every now and then. Eh? What is our business? Yeah. Or what should we be doing? That's not your CEO and the board at Q sourcing. What is our business? Where do we exist? Of course, you have your missions there. And they have 4 focus areas to identify themselves with in the strategic management. The first one is in terms of diversifying the business. Because for them, they look beyond just where you're going the next 1 year. They want to go bigger, acquire. They want to diversify. Do they have any gaps out there they can fulfill as acquisitions? Yeah. Number 2, they also want to understand that the business levels below them are working in synergy, you know, because they know that unless they do that, that finance and HR and sales are working together to achieve their strategy, it may not work very, very well. So they must ensure that you guys down there are working together. And thirdly, they always think about investment priorities. Investing as priority 1, where we're spending the money that we have here from our shareholders to give optimum growth opportunity for them to grow. So investment money-wise. And fourth, think about the business levels and how you support, how they can support you the next level to accomplish their own level of strategy. So these 4 are the 4 key areas that CEOs do every day when they come to work. They think about diversifying, increasing, you know, the synergy, investments. So for them, once they cascade down to you, they think about, is there synergy? How to support them as we think of investing, diversifying, a whole different level of how they focus on strategy. Now, business level, where you are, most of you, they focus on areas. Strategy, the one above, okay? How do you compete in a particular business area? If you're in HR or in your sales, how are we competing? How are we doing in that arena? In R&D, in production? Thirdly, there are 3 types that you can focus on as strategies in this particular business area. The first level you can focus on is called a low-cost producer. It's about utilizing the economies of scales to reduce the cost. If you are manufacturing maybe like water, you have the big liter of water, 1 liter, 4 liter, and 20 of it. How can we utilize what we have to reduce our cost to meet our strategic plan as a producer? And that's why I say differentiator strategy. Yeah, you want to give your client something unique that's different and distinct that only you provide for them, that nobody else can provide in HR. It's raining very heavily here. I'm trying to add the volume. Can you hear me? And thirdly, you can say we can use a focused approach where we say we're going to focus on a niche market or niche customers to provide the best ever. Okay. So the next 2 years or 1, you can focus and say we are focusing on the private sector or public sector. Or geographically, we're offering maybe northern Rwanda or towards Uganda. So you focus on an area where you want to utilize and focus and say this is where our objectives lie. So you can choose any of those 3 levels of strategy in the business level, and whichever one works for you is what you're going to apply. If you're at the bottom level of strategy is called operational functional, you're trying to ask yourself, how do you support the level above us, business level? Yeah. They have said, for example, they want to apply the low-cost producer strategy. So that means to them, either reduce the cost of operation, manufacturing, or increase the work productivity output. So they're going to now find your strategy, it's when you apply there into their own because they're the operational people on the ground. And that's how you can cascade all the way down and achieve that one based on the different levels of strategy. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't how that works and how it translates at every level?
Nancy, go back to the last, the most recent slide.
operational level?
Functional. Yes, there.
Okay. Any question? You want to ask a question or
Yes.
just to clarify? Yes.
I did not understand what you say, how we could, on functional, like,
Yes.
I think I missed out a point on how do we support the business level strategy, and what are the examples of supporting business level strategies? Yes.
Okay, let's start from here. You can choose strategic levels, 3 approaches, depending on your business. The first one can be a low-cost producer. You want to be the low-cost producer in your organization, in the industry. Or you want to be a differentiator by giving a unique product or service that nobody else provides. So which level you pick will translate that into their business or their function or their operations. So let's say, for example, you picked the low-cost producer as your strategic application for this particular year. They will say now, if they have said they want to be low-cost producers, what does that mean to us? What can we do? What are we supposed to do? Either to reduce our cost of manufacturing by 10 or 80%, as you agree with them, because you want to reduce the cost of production. Or you can increase the output per worker by X percentage or X number of hours to meet that strategy of saying they are low-cost producers. You see that? That's one example. Let's say you want the differentiator in the market to bring something unique into the market that nobody is providing. Then you ask them, maybe bottling water, let's just say that. So what can we offer differently in our water that nobody else is giving? Is it the packaging? Can we make something slicker with a sipper, something very, very unique, you know? Then design that product or that item to look unique, whatever it is, yeah? It could be a service, yeah? What is missing in the market that nobody is providing that we can provide ourselves? What is that niche market you want to give? So that is now what the operation guys at the bottom there will do. They will design, they will repackage, they will present something different. So it's up to you at the business level to translate that and tell them, we have picked low cost as our next year's strategy or focus or differentiator. Then they can now break it down in their operations. Is it clearer?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It's raining very heavily here. Can you hear my volume? It's very heavy. Purity, are you there?
I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you very clear.
It's actually pounding. Where are you okay, Purity, where you are? Is it raining where you are, Purity?
Yes, it is actually.
Wow, okay. Well, let's continue and see what the process entails. It's a step-by-step procedure, and the first thing you must do is formulate the company's mission. Of course, I know you have one there at Q-Sourcing. You have your mission, well printed, documented somewhere. It's on a wall. This is about who we are and why we exist. Why is Q-Sourcing alive? What are we there for? Extremely important. The first thing you must do. The next thing is develop a company profile reflecting on who you are, what makes up your company in terms of the board, for example, the structure, the organogram, the functions, and also maybe if you have like branches or other different units, what makes your company what it is? What's your profile? A small history about yourself maybe is good, and that helps you form a foundation of who you are and what you are and what can possibly happen, what can grow. Number 3, you want to assess your external environment. And again, here we said earlier, you don't exist on your own. You're in a different environment where the other forces that are working for and against you, but you must know what they are to understand how to project your strategy. And then fourthly, in the same order, analyze your company's options, yeah? Based on what you have seen as the environmental forces, what are our options in terms of not just surviving, but thriving and growing in the ways we have planned to grow? In revenue, in market share, what are the options we have to tackle that external market industry? And then fifthly, out of all the options you have there, which are the most desirable? You can't do all of them at the same time. Top 3, top 4. What can we apply for now with what we have as our resources, with what we have seen in the environment? So you pick those. And then number 6 is now you select the long objectives for the grand strategy, okay? We have picked our best options. So now our long-term objectives or goals are as follows. Now long-term here is depending on the industry you are in, the company you are in. But for a long time, we had a 5-year long-term objective or strategy. Some had even 6 years. But based on the environment changing, the way it's so dynamic and changing every time, most of the 3 years is a long time enough time, because the one thought that one day we'll have terrorism attacks in the US, or we'll have oil wars in the Middle East. So all those environmental issues have happened so quickly in a short time, you can't plan for 5 years and then you sit. So they have been reduced between 3 to 4 years as a long-term objective. So depending on who you are in your industry, you can tailor depending on the long term you want to have. And then number 7, the long term, have a short-term strategy. Make it a 1 year, 6 months. What you must do as immediately the first 6 months, yeah, as you continue to focus on the long term. Short term is very, very key. Number 8 is time for action. Now you implement what you have picked as your strategy. It's time to move along and start working towards it, implementing. And then lastly, you want to evaluate and see where you have gone well, evaluating what you have done. Are you on the right track? Are we going very far away? How have you performed? Is there a success as we had planned to have success in implementing our strategy? That is where you want to look now. So these are 9 steps you can easily just formulate, and they go step by step, starting with top to bottom, and then they go again around and round the following period. Again, formulate, you know, look at your mission again. Are we still the same business? Has anything changed in our company? You know, what are our strengths, our weaknesses? So that continues every period.
Yes.
Sawa. Sawa means, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
John looks like he has a question.
Yes. John?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Somebody's bullying you. You're being bullied.
He's been so quiet, that's why.
Okay, but I think it's okay. Now, let's just look at each step and see how that applies and do some examples here as well. So formulating is where you want to now analyze and say, you want to apply some models here to be able to help you formulate your strategy. So once you have seen where you are in terms of, let me just go back here, in terms of your mission, of course you have your vision, you want to now prepare in writing, agree together, what is our strategy? What's our game plan? Now this applies to either an intended or emergent strategy, okay? What you intend to do is what you project. What emerges because something has happened in the market, in the environment, you must also do it the same way. Now, to do that, you want to analyze your internal environment and the external environment in different models. There are many of them. So for this one, I'll choose about 4 of them. There's a pastel that you know very, very well, yeah, to scan the internal environment. It's the political, it's the economical, social cultural, technological, and also environmental and legal. This we discussed last time with you when you were doing about change, isn't it? And something very, very well, yeah? So to scan the external and see what are the forces in the environment that be against us or for us. What is going on out there, okay? Then once you do that, you look at your internal environment, your company, what you are. That, of course, I know you know. It's called the SWOT analysis. I know you know it by head. This I know you have done before. You want to see what's your strength as an organization. What is the advantage you have against anybody else in the industry and in the market? Number two, what are weaknesses? Because there's a strength and a weakness. Yeah. What are you deficient in? Is it about resources compared to others in the industry? Then you have the O is opportunities. What are the gaps? What is separating us in the environment there? What can we take advantage of as a gap that should add us some advantage? And then lastly, what are the threats? What is unfavorable in the industry, in the sector that can hurt us as a company? This is not for the internal company yourselves. Then, once you have done that, done the SWOT analysis, you want to do something called a product portfolio. You want to see, based on what you have seen as our SWOT, our strength and weakness and all, and what is happening in the environment, the pastel, where are we in terms of our service portfolio or our product portfolio? What do we have? What is our key product or our key service? Now, this has been used for a long time. It's called the Bcg Growth Matrix. I don't know if you have seen before. Boston Consulting Group Growth Matrix. That actually helps you to analyze your market growth, market share, and the rate of growth in the market. And it's given 4 different cells. So what somebody did is say, let's organize and say we have 4 different levels of product, and it can move in 4 different ways. So this graph you're seeing here, the x-axis here represents the market share growth, market share of your organization, and then the y-axis there goes for market growth rate. How fast are we growing in the market? And they said we're going to have 4 cells. The top one there that has a high market growth and a high market share, we shall call those the stars. Can you see that? The topmost box, left, top, right, left, where you're seeing high and high, are called the stars. So ask yourself, in our service portfolio or our product, what are the stars? What are the high market growing products that have market share? Q sourcing, for example, you have about 5 different products you want to give out. What is growing faster? What gives you most market share? What is the most revenue? What do you boast about as Q sourcing? That you call a star. Okay. The second box is what could be having a low growth in the market but has a high market share at the same time. So up there it's high, but it's a low growth market. We call them the cash cows. Cash cows are those are not growing very, very fast in the market, but they still give you a good revenue and a good market share in the industry you are in. And these cash cows, if develop very, very well, can become market share growth, can become stars in the future. So you need them to be there and to stay and focus on how they can be grown to become stars. The level 3 of your portfolio of your product are called the question marks or problem children. That's how they were named by the Boston Group. These ones, they have a high growth rate, but a low market share. Okay, so in your service portfolio, which are these problem children? Who are the ones who are fast growing, but don't have a very, very big market share? You put them there in a list. Then lastly, we have what we call the dogs. They neither have a market share that's growing, and they have a low rate of growth, but they are part of the portfolio. So you decide and say, these particular X dogs, do we need them? Can they become question marks to get a high market rate growth and grow? Or do we discard them completely? So this matrix will help you analyze and say, where do we focus mostly on in terms of our products or services as we go along our strategic plan? Where do we need to invest more time and effort and resources? But what you want to have is focus on the strengths, the stars, yeah? Think about what is your element of service. What is that 1 or 2 things that you do very, very well that you must be protected, contain, and remain high growing and remain in the high level of market share? Who are the cash cows? Can you push them to become stars? Because you need them in terms of market growth. They give you a good share, they give you a good return, but not as high as the stars. So always group your services in this area. It's a very, very good format, has been used by very many companies, and has been very productive. Is it clear?
Actually, I think the team has dropped off. The one in Rwanda, the one at the office.
Okay.
Let me just call Lydia.
How long ago did they drop off?
I actually just realized now, so I think.
Okay. But the rest of them, there are 4 others, 3 others.
No. Oscar is their business development manager, like the head of them.
Is he with us?
Yes, Oscar is still there. The other one is my assistant.
Okay. I hope they haven't missed very much moving forward.
I'm saying sometimes the internet drops off.
Yeah.
So I'm also trying to call Lydia. Nancy, maybe we just give them a few more minutes.
Okay, no problem.
There is Lydia. Hi, Lydia. Hello. Yeah. They're connecting back in a few minutes.
Hello?
Hi, Nancy. They're still dropped off. They should be joining back within a few minutes.
All right, so.
All right. Yes, they're back now. Hi, Lydia.
Hi, Purity.
You're back, right?
Yes.
Sorry. Your internet dropped off?
Yes, it dropped off from the other call.
All right.
At which point did you lose me? Hello? I want to know how far they were. Where were we when they got lost?
Yes, that they have to tell us.
Anybody? At which point were we when we lost you?
Lydia?
Are they muted?
Yes, they're muted actually. So I don't know if they're still having challenges connecting back to us.
We are here.
Okay, at what point did you guys drop off?
Yes.
Sorry?
We're on strategic management.
At what point in the slides?
Bcg Matrix.
Okay. Okay. This matrix here. You can see it, huh?
Yes.
All right. What I was saying that this has been used well by most companies, the Boston Group Consulting Group Matrix, to help you analyze your product or your service portfolio, to be able to understand where you're going to spend most of your energies in terms of resources and time to get the best of your strategic objectives in terms of growth, expansion, and how you're going to apply it with your environment. So you analyze your products or your services based on the 4 different quadrants that help identify the high growth market and high market share ones. You put them as stars. That's why you want to focus a lot of your energy, because you must protect those products or services. And then you want to have the cash cows following that. Those are the ones that give you a low market growth, but they have a market share that is quite large. So you want to develop those and make them stars and keep them there, because they give you also a good return and a good market presence. And then thirdly, you have them question marks, where you have products that are not very, very big in market share, but they have a high market growth rate. In this, you want to protect them and put them there and make them eventually become the cash cows. And the last quadrant there, the dogs, they don't give you a low, they are low in product, in market share, and low in growth. So those you can decide to either dispose of all of them, remove them because they give you nothing at all, they have no benefit for you at all. Or if you can try, if you think and try one more time and pump some time and energy on them, they can become your question marks and then go to cash cows and then maybe to stars one day if you're able to. But this quadrant helps you to view your product portfolio at a glance, and then you know how to attack your market with your strategy. It's a very, very fast way to see. It's like a dashboard to show you where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah? We're together? Hello.
Hello. Yes, we can.
Okay. All right, so now having discussed the first part of the management plan, let's see how an example can help us make it more clearer for us. So my example here, I want to give you how you can formulate that into number 1 to 6. Now, let's say my company here is called Exclusive Furniture Makers. We are makers of furniture. That's not my company, as an example. And our mission here is to provide luxury furniture to complement the most exclusive decor ambience. So we are high-end market furniture makers. In the market here, we are focusing on the high-end hotels, homes, clubs. You think of high-end places, institutions, you think about us as furniture makers, okay? And our vision here is to be a leading market provider of furniture in the region. That goes beyond Kenya. It goes towards Rwanda and East Africa. So I have given my mission here, and my profile here is began in 1995 as a leading furniture provider. We make them with the best skilled workmanship, and the raw materials that we source are of high quality, and we only go for the best in terms of things like wooden or log materials, and we continuously train our people to be the best in skill. And we have our head office in Nairobi here, where we have our factory. But we have other branches in other towns like Mombasa and Kisumu. We have a sales office and a showroom where we can show our products and we sell in those regions. Now, for this year, we scan environment in the pestle, as we had said earlier, to see where we have openings and where we have threats. And in this year, we have found in the economic part of the pestle, we have a very, very fast growing economy in Kenya. We have a good exchange rate. We have a market that is allowing us to borrow money credit-wise, so you have a lot of money that can flow into the owner's hands. So there's plenty of buying power among our clients. It's a good time for us to invest because the economy is booming. But something else here, the environmental pestle, the logging laws have been enforced, where we have logging laws and fines. We can't easily get our raw material, basically the wood. So we are restricted in how much you can get as a raw material. We have activist groups going around against our funds, so we have to be careful. Okay. Can you see that? We have lounge furniture, very exclusive, you know. We have dining furniture, bedroom furniture, again, furniture. We have deck, you know, for the beaches, for the hotels, inside, those who have a deck on the houses, you can enjoy that. That's our products. Now, To look at ourselves as a SWOT analysis, we have our own here. The first strength we have here, we have a strong brand heritage in the market for many, many years, a strong market presence and client base, and we are very admirable when it comes to skill workmanship. We have the best. We have trained our people, we have a good capital base, we have plenty of money for working around us, and the investments have been made and they have liquidity and they have high returns. That's our biggest strength. Our people skills, our market share, and our investment portfolio is very high end. What's our weakness? The human skill. We have trained people with a good skill, and we can lose them to somebody who comes in and just buys them off. They can be poached easily because our skill is basically based on the human skill we have developed. That's our biggest weakness. Number 3, opportunities for growth. Here we have seen that we can grow in a vibrant environment that's going on. The economy is booming, and we have seen that we can grow in the steep market that's going up, in the market homes that are opening up in the region, in the hotels. That is where we want to focus on, and even in the region that's opening up. Rwanda, Uganda, and Tanzania is growing in terms of the high-end market. So there we can go and explore and grow our business. And lastly, what's our threat? We have number 1, we have new entrants coming in because they are seeing that it's a big booming market here, and they're coming in with a the new law in deforestation, so we are having to spend more money to buy our raw material wood for much, much higher, and sometimes we can't avail that on time, so we cannot guarantee our raw material availability. Those are our threats as exclusive for furniture masters. Now, when you focus on the BCG analysis, we want to focus and see how we can portfolio our products and how we can group them. Now, for our stars, where we have high market growth, we have seen that our lounge and bedroom furniture is at the highest. That's where we want to grow. We have made a lot of progress in this area. This is what we sell mostly, what gives us high revenues. And our cash cows here, we have said is the dining furniture, the bar and kitchen furniture, as well as office furniture. Those are the ones with a high they have a low market growth, but they have a high market share. In terms of question marks, we have garden and deck furniture. They are neither here or there. They are staggering sometimes, but we need them because they give us a high market share despite having a low market growth. And our doors category are the smaller furniture pieces there. We have small sideboards, we have mantel pieces, stools, and small stands. Those are the ones we need to understand and see how we can work with them. Do we dispose of them or do we keep them in our new strategy for this coming year? Now, so our CEO strategy here, let's start by planning what the CEO wants in the company. He has a long-term objective here. And the long-term here is to have to increase revenue of 40% and a market share of 30%. That's number 1. Number 2, the CEO level want to break new ground into new region, into Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda, and take advantage of the big high-end markets growing up there, and also find a way of getting a lower cost and easier available raw material, because there we have seen their laws are not as harsh as ours. You can get good quality timber at low cost, so we can use that to subsidize our own here in the region. Now, short-term objectives of the CEO, this is a 1 year now. They want to venture into a customized range of luxury items. They want to have a place where they can give you, tell them what you want them to make for you, your own furniture design. Because you want your own bed design, you want your own bed design, give it to us, and you want to get that happening in the next 1 year. And you want to get at least 30 million out of that business. Number 2, we want to skill our people, we want to skill our staff, get them more training, to get more talent development, to retain them, and also to motivate them a bit longer. So as we train them, development them, we're going to reward them heavily to keep them with us, because if we lose them, we're going to lose our entire skill structure. That's a CEO strategy, and then you want to bring it down to our business unit. I've picked one called the sales department. Now they're translating that CEO's strategy into the following. They want to have new developments growing by increasing development, their sales developers. They want to partner with developers of different categories in homes and furniture to increase their sales by 30%. Secondly, they want to have organized open houses at malls and at clubs. And by going to there to influence people who are designers and decorators, they want to find at least a 15% increase in their sales using malls and clubs and hotels. And then thirdly, you want to increase our outdoor furniture sales by 15%. And having said that, that is what our business level unit for sales is, translating our CEO strategy. Then now I want you in two. Hello? Are we there?
Yes, we are.
An example of how you can formulate a strategy and how you can maybe just break it down step by step until you come to your business level strategy. So I think some time that we can borrow from you. I can give you two groups. I don't know how you're going to pick yourselves. I'll give you an assignment for every group in the next 10 or so minutes. If it's possible at all purity.
Yes.
Group 1 is called Classic Holiday Makers. Group 2 is a consulting group. Okay. And for every group here, I gave you a hint of what is going on in the market, in the region. Like the first one being the holiday makers, they're called Classic. They're in a depressed economy currently. And then there's number 2 group, the consulting group here. They're in a high growth sector. Those are hints of what is going on there to help you start off. And I would like you to just answer to make 4 or 5 different, these are the, So define your mission and your vision and a brief company profile. You do your own SWOT analysis. You do a PESTEL based on the environment that you're outside there, do a BCG matrix formulation, and then give at least one CEO strategic level strategy, long and short term, and formulate at least one business unit strategy plan, just one. Because of time, I want to ask you to help us how we can divide our group into 2.
Yes, I think the ones that are in office, are you 6 of you?
Together. Hello?
In the office, there are 6, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes.
Yes, then they can become groups of 3. So Sonia will sit with Patrick and John. Peace will sit with Lydia and Queen. Those are 2 groups.
Yes.
Okay, Lydia, I've just seen your message. Nancy, they're not able to take the group work now. What do you think?
Because of time.
Yes.
Maybe they can do it among themselves later, just as a way of understanding, to internalize the process. But I can give them, you can share with them the example I shared earlier.
Yes.
That they can try and use in their own time.
All right.
Because time has quite gone, yes. I was wondering about the time part of it.
Okay, what do you think, guys? We give you as a takeaway assignment.
Yes, that was
the then once you're done with the assignment, you can just send us the feedback. Then we can review and give you more feedback if need be. Is that okay?
That's okay.
We could work on this, yes, and send it on email. Then as we do our mid-month meetings here, I could share with the team your feedback.
Yes, definitely. So
sorry.
Yes, so I will drop you the assignment because it's already ready. So I just work on it as the 2 groups. Email back to us your feedback. Then from there we can give you more feedback if there will be need from your assignment.
Sure.
That is okay.
I hope it's okay with Nancy. We are not sure.
It's okay. It's okay. Really, actually, what I was thinking, it's about the time. I know you're tired, but the whole idea is to make you internalize the entire process as far as formulating is concerned. And then now you, as Q sourcing, can now formulate your own strategy at the top CEO level and at your business levels and see how that translates to each other. That's the whole idea of the entire group work. Yeah, to follow through the process. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Okay. So I wish you well as you. So now let's continue and see. Once you formulate your strategy at your CEO and the business level, what next? The next thing is to implement your strategic plan. This is where you put the whole thing into action. Okay. It's about designing and managing the systems to achieve the best integration of the people, your structure, your process, and your resources to reach the optimum level of your objectives. Yes. So having seen all that, you've done your SWOT analysis, you have analyzed your environment, you have counted your long-term and your short-term goals, put them into practice. This is where most companies fail at the implementing stage. We can be very good at the beginning, the first part, you do all those lovely plans, they're in a nice file, but putting it together has been a challenge for some very, very serious companies. Now, this entails some few things. The first thing is securing resources. What do you require as resource? Because you require some resources. Capital, human resource, you require maybe machinery resources. Because unless you have this going in time, the people are nothing at all. And you organize them and direct them towards the right people and the right structures to be able to implement the strategy. All right, now, this level involves a few things, just in summary here to recap. It involves different business practices. Here, it's across the functions. There are those who are operational, there are those who are in planning, there are those who are in buying, acquiring resources. So whatever they are, they must work in synchrony to be able to work together in timeliness to be able to apply and implement the strategy. No one should be lagging behind the other. Let's not have finance saying, yeah, the money is not ready yet, or procurement saying the supplier has not supplied us. Let us have a plan where everything is flowing in tandem across all the functions so that nothing is left behind to determine the implementation stage. Number two is about competitive situations. Out of there, it's turbulent, it's about changing the environment. There's COVID, there's terror, there's floods, all those things. You must take a very, very bold step and fight and just remain focused, all right? You must be bold as leaders against all the turbulence in the environment. Then it's about the cultures and policies. This must support your strategy, What are your cultures? What are your core values? What are your policies, What guides the way you work? Are they supportive of your strategy or are they working against it? They must be realigned and reviewed, and they must support it at every level of implementation. And then number three, you have to have incentives as you compete with the environment. Incentivize and motivate people as they work along. They're working very, very hard. They're trying to remain positive and remain on focus. Motivate them, reassure them, support them in every way you can because you need them to stay focused. And don't forget also you have a divergence in personalities in the people you're working with. There are those who are more positive, those who are more active, those who are role models. So that divergence should be used in the right way to be able to have a proper way of focusing and saying with all our divergences we have here, we need all this to play. There are those who are much quieter, they're introverts, they're extroverts. So put them together to be able to give you a synchronized way of implementing and as they add value to your system. And don't forget, there's no one that serves all. You have to customize your approach based on who you are, your situations, your resources, and where you are at every period. So make it customized for your own self. You know yourself better. You know your strength. Your SWOT analysis is very, very clear. You know your products. So make it your very, very own and use it and apply it the best way possible. Is that clear on summary of implementation? Okay. I've had a yes from far. Moving on. Something very key here in implementing your strategy is about the structure. Okay? Now the structure is basically what you have as an organization. They're always different. Some are geographical structures, some are product structures. So whatever structure you have should be able to support your strategy. Because we always say that structure follows strategy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
The cart or the wagon. So you have, the first thing you must do is first be very clear about your strategy, and then you look at and say, is our structure supporting our strategy? Do you require to make amendments in maybe the organogram, maybe in our focus? Should we say as a graphical structure or product structure? Can you redesign here and align it to make it supportive? So whatever it is, do not forget to first look at your structure and how it supports. It must be very flexible and be able to marry into your strategy. Because mostly this is where most companies fail. They want to remain the same way they were in structure, and they're struggling to fix in the strategy and to invent it the right way, but they cannot because the structure is very rigid. It can make it very obsolete. Let's remember the structure follows strategy. All right. So once you implement and you want to, you have gone 6 months, into your period, you need to evaluate and control and see if you're moving in the right direction. You know, are we going the way we had planned? Do we have things against us? Are we realigning our structure, our direction, our resources? Because it's a turbulent environment, nothing will stay the same. It's not static, it's dynamic. So you need to always look back and control and evaluate. Okay? You're trying to check where you are on the track and how you're performing. Are you on the right track, performing well? What requires your attention? What requires your adjustments? And for this, you can use different types of control. Your strategy, the first one, I'll call it premise control. Number 2, special alert control. Number 3, regional control. I will look at it one by one and see the best you can use. And continuously whether the which it was based on is still valid. For example, if you applied an environment that was very drastic in terms of economy, or it was very, very drastic because of COVID, is that premise still holding? Is it still going on? If it's still going on, are you applying the same techniques you had at the beginning? So apply the same techniques and follow through and check, has something changed in our pastel in the environment? If it has changed, what can we adapt that environment to become? That's the first one. Number 2, based on the industry factors, your own industry, you know, consider the factors, what has changed, you know, the pricing, do you have new entrants? Do you have something that has changed in that industry that requires your attention, suppliers, maybe, the buying of the competitors. So all those things must be based on the same premise. If something has changed there, you must change tact. Number 2, control is what we call the special alert. This is in terms of drastic change in the environment, you know, unforeseen crisis that will shift his region to a very, very big margin. It could be a pandemic like COVID, it could be terror attack. What can change at once that can avert your strategy? What is it can be? So when something happens like that, like maybe war or terror or a pandemic that triggers and changes the course of your strategy, you must think about 2 things. You must have a crisis team ready every time who can avert the crisis, who must think on their feet very, very quickly. And number 2, contingency plans to avert the crisis. Always have something like that prepared. Nobody foresaw that one day that COVID can come and the whole world is a standstill and nothing is moving. So always think now, after we learned about COVID, now we can learn, you must have a team ready to avert the crisis. You must have plan Bs and even Cs to keep us moving and keep us not just surviving, but moving towards our objective and our strategy. Thirdly, you can use operational control systems. These are to do with standards, okay, of performance. You have said we want to get 80% of the market share. What can we allow? 25% maybe margin, 28% you can accept, okay? And then be able to measure that performance at every given time, every period before it comes to the end of that period and see how far you are. and maybe we're required to deviate a few of those standards based on the environment and what is going on. Yeah. And if it goes wrong somewhere or something has gone below, can you initiate a corrective action and how fast can it be done? So this one works in steps of 4, setting a standard performance and then measuring it against the performance of what is actually happening. And then identifying the deviation of the standards and seeing how you can correct them or how you can deviate and how you can align them back to remain on course of the strategic plan you had. Okay, I think that is the end of our discussion today. We have discussed many things in strategy. I hope we are together, we are still awake and we have understood, but I think I'll wait for some questions now or concerns on our last topic. And I hope you can carry something away with you to help you as you move on to this new year in key sourcing and strategic management. Thank you very much. Time has gone, I know.
Thank you, Nancy.
Do you have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
So for me, I came a bit late. So, Axel, I have a question.
Yes.
No, I was saying I was here a bit late, but from where?
I think I've lost him.
Me too. I think I've lost Axel.
It was John.
I took on. It's Axel. It's John. So I was saying.
If you want to say
Yes.
the connection is unstable.
I was saying that I had, but from where I came in, I have understood everything. I came in at special net control, so I don't know.
Okay, so you missed the bigger part of the discussion.
No question.
Don't worry. John also can take you through it with the notes. They can be the next lecturers.
I have you have to pay.
But ideally, it's just to give you an idea of how you can formulate and implement strategy. And I'm sure because you have been there for a long time, it will be very hard for you. Your managers, your very key people. Yeah. So no questions. Oscar, is Oscar there? Is he still with us, Oscar?
He excused himself. He has to jump into another meeting at 5 sharp. Yes.
Okay. It's now 20 past, so I don't know, Purity.
Yes, I think that's the whole series. I will open maybe for the next few minutes, 1 minute or so, just to get comments from the group, what they thought about the program, what they have learned. But still, it's not yet over until they do the assignment. So
yes,
so that one has to be done.
Yeah, it's a commitment we have made. It is.
Yes, it is.
Security, remind us our groups again, because people are already panicking about the assignment.
Yes, the group was Sonia, Patrick, and Axel. Is that Axel next?
And John.
And John.
It's soon they remember. You see, they don't need to be reminded.
Are you choosing their friends? Are you choosing your friends? They should mix up.
He will be part of both.
Sonia, who is choosing their friend?
Queen.
John, and now John is would prefer John.
Okay, so it will be.
We will divide us into two.
It will be Patrick, Sonia, and John. The other group will be Axel, Peace, Lydia, and Queen. Queen today was very quiet. I did not hear her talk the entire session.
But I did. I was the only one who participated.
She was the one participating last year.
Yes, Queen.
Go downstairs.
Live on Facebook. How am I live on Facebook? Accept. Live on Facebook.
The next topic you have to come here, right?
Yeah, for sure. I ought to come to Rwanda. I miss Rwanda. I've not been there for quite a while. I think about a year now or so. So I should be coming around.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Now I have so many friends. Nancy, you've been to Rwanda?
No, I haven't. I must go. I have to go.
You've not been to Rwanda?
No.
Then we should go with you.
We should go together. Don't leave me. Take me with you.
Me too.
Oh, you too.
And it's just here, very near.
I love the people. I love the food, especially the food. I love the food. So
Which food do you like?
I should come around sometime.
Yeah, come and chill with Patrick. He's the one who likes food as well.
Oh, Patrick, I'll come and show me around, like the best restaurants. I'll come with a MasterCard, so the bill will not be a problem.
Yeah.
He is the expert in restaurants.
All right. So
Okay.
Patrick, I know you are very absent from the entire program. So I think we'll give you 3/4 of the certificate.
That's more than
An exam.
Yes. You know, Patrick was the most absent student.
No.
Yes.
I was paying your bill.
So you,
That's corruption.
so apart from that, Queen, best attendance together with Lydia. Sonia, if you were to rate out of 2, then you also best attendance. Also Axel, but sometime Axel, you had exams, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's correct. Do you think I missed?
What about me and John?
Peace, when you were starting, you were very absent actually, but you got the momentum as we went on.
Yeah.
So and John was almost there all the time. So Queen, John, and Lydia, best attendance.
Patrick.
Patrick, your attendance was like 20%. So that was not very good.
20%. You are favoring him.
Actually,
You're even favoring him.
But I really enjoyed interacting with you through the entire program. My heart today feels a bit bad that we're just coming to the end of this program, but I really hope and pray this will open up more opportunity for us just to come back, develop more skills, even if it's not to this team, but to another team within the organization. So I'm very, very optimistic on how the future looks like. And I really want to pray and hope that whatever we've learned over this so many weeks, that you're able to go back to your organization and implement. Let people know within your organization and even outside of your organization that you actually underwent a training. Because learning is not about the notes that we took or the presentations, the videos. It's about the change of behavior. Like, we only know that you have learned something if your behavior changes. So for me, it's a sincere prayer that there'll be a behavior change. You become better managers, you become better supervisors, you become better leaders as well in your organization. Such that if you look back to these moments, you'll be like, it's good that I've invested all that time to do the training. As much as I would have wanted it to be physical, but it is what it is. We have to do it online. So for me, I'm very happy this was a great success on our end. And I really hope it was also a great success on your end.
Same for us, we're happy.
Yes.
We learned while enjoying the sessions, and we appreciate.
Yeah, I really appreciate too. So I want to call this an end. Make sure you do the assessment. The assignments that you've given. We'll also give you the final assessment of the entire program. Just make sure you send it to us. Also make sure we get the correct names or order of names so that you can process certificates for you. At this time, unfortunately, we'll have to give you e-certificates, but the e-certificates, you can go anywhere that there's a printer and print it out. However, if you want me to courier the hard copy certificates, we are still able to courier them to you. Which one would you prefer?
I guess you can print them. You can deliver the hard copies
We can print them ourselves.
We even learn online, so everything can be online. Learning was online. There's no.
So we give you the e-certificates. Yes. So just make sure Lydia has captured your correct names in the correct order, so that we give you certificates that shows what you participated in during the entire program. And the certificate is good because it's valid anywhere in the world. So you might as well use it to showcase what you have learned in the process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Pass my regards to Lydia. I know she has just stepped out. Also to Oscar, it was such a privilege interacting with you all. And I hope to see you all soon when I come to Rwanda.
Yes, the two of us will go to Rwanda. Yeah, we have to go.
All right, when all of us come to Rwanda.
For sure.
You won't leave me here.
Good
Yeah.
evening, guys, and God bless you all.
Bye. Thank you so much, Rwanda.
Bye-bye.
Been a pleasure. Bye.
The certificate. Certificate.